chicken shit Republicans is what I often call them, because that's what they are. And I think it's important to rag on these guys because, as an example, me and where I'm at, and a liberty-minded person that values private property rights and being a libertarian, I'm constantly told that if you don't support Republicans, then the Democrats win, or the left more ideologically ends up winning. And so when you criticize something a Republican does, it's all, well, what are you saying? That the Democrat should have won, or Democrat should be better, or we would be better in the event that a Democrat was in control. And what that is effectively that person coping with the idea that the person that they support, or the people that they put somewhat faith in, are a bunch of hacks. Okay? And the left wins regardless. And some of them are leftists just because they have an R next to their name. But again, you've been conditioned, and that's why in some cases when it comes to at least the federal government, it's almost like Republicans just opposition controlled. You know, in on it, but they're just to pose a sense of hope in the system for the people, so they continue to participate in this bullshit. Okay, we have another example of this, and I want to be very clear. I don't cover every single bill that gets voted on or passed. So I don't want you to look at this video and this topic that we're going to cover as if this is some like one-off, as if this is something that is only happening here in this instance and won't happen. It doesn't happen a lot. No, this happens very often. And if you actually, you go to congress.gov and you can go look at all of this stuff, you can see the amounts of pork-filled bills that these guys generally support, that are welfare statist, anti-liberty positions. Here's yet another one. And I'm going to show you right here as you're watching us live. If you listen to the audio, you need to check it out. We're, looking at the summary of H.R. 550. And this was introduced in the House earlier this year. And it's called the Immunization Infrastructure Modernization Act. And as it says in the summary, the bill directs Department of Health and Human Services, or the HHS, to take actions to improve data sharing and other aspects of immunization information systems. These are confidential population-based databases that maintain a record of vaccine administrations. Okay, contradiction there. They're not confidential if the data is going to be any useful to you guys. It's not confidential at all. It's a fucking database is what they're advocating, a vaccine database. Let's call it a federalized vaccine database. Let's just call it what it is. Specifically, the HHS must develop a strategy and plan to improve these systems, including systems supported by the CDC, designate data and technology standards for the use of these systems, and award grants to health departments. So here we go again with more federal welfare statism, with them lining up their cronies and other government agencies to improve their systems. As a condition of receiving grants, recipients must use the designated standards. However, HHS may waive this condition in some circumstances. So they could use the grants as a bargaining chip, extortive policy, or they cannot, is basically what it said. So let's call it what it is. Effectively, what this is a federal vaccine database of the people within this country. That's exactly what it is. And if you read the full text, that's what it says. There have been 80 fucking Republicans that have voted in support of this. Your usual names, Dan Crenshaw. There's nothing certainly new there. We got Tony Gonzalez there. These two fucking Texans that are certainly there. People that you would generally expect, these neocons and what have you, were in support of that. Why people continue to parade around this fucking eye patch wearing son of a bitch as if he's some sort of beacon for what's going to be the new conservatism. And if that's who y'all going to use as y'all's little poster child going into the future, good luck. And don't ever certainly expect the support of folks like myself, because you ain't getting it. 80 Republicans supported it. That's a lot. It's the House, but that's a lot. And again, the only reason I'm mentioning this is because, not me, others present the Republican Party as if it's always of course, lesser of the two evils. Now, I'm not of the opinion that the constituents, or rather the supporters of these Republicans and general supporters of Democrats, are the same exact people. That's disingenuous. That's a lazy way of thinking about it. But what I will say is that the alternative that often is presented is a chicken shit one. I argue with these guys on a daily basis. You've heard me over at Blaze, constantly grilling cats like fucking Dan Crenshaw, right? Because all you do is set up the scene for future statism by supporting these jackasses who give you much of the same shit. But what they will do is pay some sort of lip service, right? Pay some lip service to some concept. They'll own the lib, right? Grilling them in some congressional fucking hearing or something, and everybody claps and praises them. Meanwhile, these fucking clowns go vote for a bill, which is what the typical welfare statism, nanny statism, spy statism that we have gotten, that got us into the mess that we're in right now. Now, this is a unique, I don't want to say unique, but what specifically makes this, to me, the easier problem to deal with is because people like Dan Crenshaw don't need a job. I am in the business of trying to delegitimize the federal government in the eyes of anybody that will lend me their ear. Let's say that. Okay? Because this problem, the ones that the academics, Republicans, chicken shit Republicans that act as if decentralization is such an unrealistic thing, right? Damn, be the examples that we've had, the more modern examples that we've had of states breaking up, Czechoslovakia, that didn't have any sort of big time revolution where millions upon millions of people died, right? Your beloved Brexit, hell, is an example of that. But people still insist that it's so unrealistic. It can't happen without violence because of a civil war in fucking hundreds of years ago. These people are ruling over you way in Washington, D.C. Of course, you never met these crackheads, but they're way in Washington, D.C. The fact that people are still advocating that and think that system has to exist, you're part of the problem. And every chicken shit Republican or conservative that supports Republicans that insists that, well, this cannot be done, you are chicken shit. And stop trying to act like I'm on your side, right? That's what gets me about these cats, is that these folks act like, oh, well, you should support these folks because if you don't, the Democrats win, trying to present me as if we're allies. We're not allies, okay? You are protecting the status quo. We're not allies. We're not the same people, right? Just because I rag on the left and you rag on the left, or you think that you're ragging on the left, many times your colleagues are leftists, does not mean that we're allies here. We're not allies. Okay? We're not. I'm a person that values liberty, and I do think that this, on net, I'm not saying absolute liberty, but on net, we can achieve this in our own lifetimes. I do believe that in my own lifetime. I'm only fucking 30 years old. I believe that's something that achievable. It's going to take changing the hearts and minds of a lot of folks. I recognize that. And that in itself is an uphill battle. But what I don't have time for is the idiot presenting himself as if he's an ally, then gets in the way in the event that I or someone else is trying to present the alternative, and that is ending these motherfuckers, man, and their jobs and their positions. Why does Congress in 2021 need to be a thing? It doesn't. It's just because reasons. It's just because it's the status quo. It's just because you've been conditioned to believe that that's what has to happen. And China, whose economic fucking power is overstated anyway, China. The federal government has to rule in the way that it does because of China. Basically advocating that you remain in an abusive relationship out of fear that some other guy might abuse you. this particular bill, which is criminal, is not new. This has happened for years, decades. Pork-filled bills full of welfare statism get passed. And then sometimes you have guys that are on your side that have orange fucking skin that sign off on them as well. And they convinced you when they did it, well the only reason he's doing this is it's 4D chess. The only reason he's doing this is because he's forcing the hand of these leftists and yada, yada, yada. Oh, the pork is going to be removed. Oh, wait a minute. Donald Trump still signed off on another $1 trillion package full of bullshit. Stop protecting the status quo. And if you are one of those that pay lip service to liberty, if you're too chicken shit to understand what liberty actually looks like in our lifetimes, just get out the way. Just get out the way. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.